start. So that, primitive data, if you want to store, so only arrays will support. Collections are not going to support. So there is a concept of boxing and unboxing. So that wrapper classes, it will come. You don't need, boxing, unboxing, as I mentioned, wrapper classes purpose is convert the primitive data into objects, object into primitive format. So that concept is called boxing and unboxing. Boxing is nothing but converting the primitive data to objects. Unboxing means objects into primitive you are converting. So that concept you don't need with the arrays. But if you are using with ArrayList, you have to convert primitive data to objects. Only collections support objects only, not primitive data. So such cases, you need to use only arrays if you are storing a primitive data. So when you can use ArrayList is a dynamic size. You don't know the size. So then you can go for the ArrayList. So this ArrayList is, you can, to expansion, collapsion, you can do how many elements. If you don't know, better to use ArrayList instead of arrays. So that is a fixed size. So this is the dynamic size. If you want dynamic size, go for ArrayList. If you have a fixed size, go for arrays. Exact data, exact size, go for arrays. If you don't know, go for ArrayList. Because so why Selenium is using ArrayList is because we don't know how many elements are coming from web page. Such cases you have to use a list only. So that's the reason you need to understand this list. Simpler APIs. ArrayList provide more user-friendly and ready-made methods compared to arrays. Right? Array doesn't provide any methods, but you have more simpler methods and APIs in the ArrayList. So you have seen already a lot of methods, right? So many methods you have in the ArrayList. So that's the advantage. All built-in methods for adding, removing, manipulating elements. So making your code more readable and maintainable. So that's the another advantage with the ArrayList. So generics. So ArrayList can store a generic data types. So which provides a type safety and avoids the need of explicit typecasting when retrieving the elements, right? So different data type you are doing when you're assigning to other data type, you need to do typecasting, right? So that typecasting, you don't need when you apply a generic concept. So what is generic concept? I'll explain that. So it is going to come. So that's it. So generics is available in the collections. You don't have in the arrays. Collections framework integration. If you're working with the Java collection framework, which includes classes like list, set, and map, using ArrayList is often more seamless because it implements the list interface. So basically, you have a classes like ArrayList, linked list, vector classes. So those are implementing the list interface. So that means all the methods are already done. You don't need to do anything. So the implementation is done already. So that's the collection framework integration is there in the ArrayList. So interoperability, basically ArrayList can be easily converted to arrays using two-array method. So it's a compatibility will be there when working with the APIs that require arrays, right? So these are the main reasons. So why you need to go for arrays and when you can go for the ArrayList. So linked list, what is linked list? So we have seen ArrayList, and what is linked list? Linked list is another class, so which stores the elements in both the directions, front to back. You can store. Okay, so that's a linked list means. So basically, a linked list data structure. It provides the one element will be linked with the other element. So that's a linked list data structure it follows. And it inherits the abstract list class and implements the list and DQ interfaces. List and DQ interfaces. That's the linked list means. So the important points about Java linked list are linked list class can contain duplicate elements because a list contains duplicate elements. Linked list class maintains the insertion order. Linked list class is non-synchronized. All these points are same for ArrayList also. But what is the extra difference is the manipulation is faster than ArrayList here. Right? Manipulation is fast because no shifting needs to occur here. So linked list class can be used as a list, stack, or queue. But ArrayList can be used as only list. ArrayList can be used as only list. But linked list can be used as a list, queue, or stack. So these are the two major differences you can give. So doubly linked list means you can assign, see, you can insert elements here. So this element is pointing to this element. So that's a doubly link. Even you can insert here also, you can get elements here, you can get elements here. So that's a doubly linked list means. So the hierarchy of linked list is linked list extends, abstract sequential list implements list DQ. These two interfaces are implemented in the linked list. So methods are different methods, extra methods are there, not same as ArrayList. So you will get extra methods, add first to, add last to. So you can add the first element, you can add a last element. And so you can check extra methods. I want to show the here, get first to get last also. You can insert to, you can get to. So both you can do. So index of methods, last index of, and so then we have peak method, peak first. What is peak method will do? It retrieves the first element of a list. Peak first, it retrieves the first element of list, returns null if the list is empty. Peak last, it retrieves the last element and returns null if it is empty. Poll method basically retrieves and removes the element from the list. That's a poll method. Basically, when you are using a stack time, these methods are used widely. Poll first, poll last. Poll is asked, basically it retrieves, but remove from the stack, remove from the list. That's a polling. Peak is just retrieves, that's it. It won't remove. That's the difference between peak and poll. Okay, so that's there is another one more. Remember, peak, poll, pop is there one more. A pop is an element from the stack represented by list. That's a pop element. Push, you can push the element into the stack. That's a push. So remove, just remove the element that we don't need much. Those are the main methods. So widely you are going to use. And that's all about ArrayList and linked list. That's one of the famous interview question. What is the difference between ArrayList and linked list? I'll show you that also. So we have a, so here example. So vector, what is a vector? So vector is another collection class. So it's a dynamic array to store the data elements. So it is almost similar to ArrayList, but it is synchronized. That is unsynchronized. ArrayList is unsynchronized. Vector is synchronized. So it contains many methods that are not part of collection framework. So that's extra methods you have because it is, act as a stack also. So stack means, so there is a concept last in first out, LIFO. So basically it's a subclass of vector. It implements the last in first out data structure concept. Last in first out. So if you take a go down, so last element will be a first, it will be there, that will be come out first. That's the stack. So stack contains all of the methods of vector class and also provides methods like push, peek, and pop. All these elements, all these methods you can use when you're working with the stack. So I'll try to give one example, one program, one lead code problem so that you can understand stack. Queue interface. Queue is so basically quite opposite to stack. So this is the first in first out order. So like you stand in the queue. If you are in first, you'll come out first. That's the queue. Okay. So it's an ordered list. So that is used to hold the elements which are about to be processed. So that's the queue means. Like these are so implemented in priority queue, and DQ is implemented in array DQ classes. So okay, so these are the stack and queue. And last one, let's finish this today. The difference between array list and linked list, I will stop because more theory also you won't get much, right? So I'll stop here after this difference. Tomorrow we'll see generics and then some set interface, those things. So what is the difference between array list and linked list? So both array list and linked lists are implementing the list interface, and both maintains the insertion order only, and they are non-synchronized. These are the common properties, but still there are unique differences. So what are the unique differences? Array list internally uses a dynamic array to store the elements, but linked list uses internally doubly linked list to store the elements. Manipulation with array list is slow because so it internally uses an array. So one element is removed from the array, all the bits are shifted in the memory. So right, that's the array list. So manipulation with the linked list is faster than array list because it uses a doubly linked list. So no bit shifting takes place here. So in the memory. So that's why it is manipulation is faster with the linked list. Manipulation is slow with the array list. So array list class acts as a list only because it implements only list. Linked list class can act as a list and queue because linked list implements the list and DQ interfaces. So array list is better for storing and accessing data. Linked list is better for manipulating the data. Okay, so that's all for the day. Any questions? So please go through this because it's a theory mostly, and so they will ask these interview questions mandatorily. Any questions? Okay. If no questions, we'll close for the day. Thank you.